So we're doing tube fenders today. I just removed the old fender. Let me get the tools. Okay, I just removed the old fender, take off all the little plastic rivets. I used this guy to kind of prime off. Some of them got stuck. I used the needle nose pliers. We got the bare body and bare fender area right here. Next, I'm just gonna mark all the holes I gotta drill according to the Metalcloak instructions to 17-30 seconds. And then install the rib nuts, mock it up, and then I gotta drill like one hole in the front and the back for the big bolts. And I think that's basically it for the rears. The fronts I think are a little bit more involved because there's a little bit of wiring involved. Put the tape under all the holes you need to drill. It's just 17-30 seconds. And these are all going inside a cavity, and so you have to use the rib nuts. The rest of these, you're just gonna use regular bolts because you can actually get behind them with the nut. And so that's kind of the reasoning. So there's the location of all the holes you gotta drill to 17-30 seconds. And I did grab some fresh 17-30 seconds bits. I'm gonna start by opening up all the holes with the unibit and then just hit it with the 17-30 seconds. You can't see, well, you can kind of see in there, the holes aren't even close right there. That one's not even close. This one is a bigger problem. I highly recommend using a fresh 17-30 seconds drill bit. All of the holes line up except for the very front one. It's pretty far off, which kind of sucks. I'm gonna see if it sucks in when I tighten everything up, but every other hole's dead nuts. Don't get it, weird. And this one's just a freaking nut that screws into the tube fender itself. It doesn't even go into the body. I don't know why they didn't just cover that up, kind of weird. All right, so the driver rear is on. It kind of sucks losing the fender liner. I might try to cut up the old fender liner and see if I can shove it back in there somehow. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, to be honest with you. It looks good from the outside though. I'm pretty sure the front bolt like never lined up, which sucks. I don't know what I did wrong because every other bolt lined up and everything lined up completely except for the very front bolt. It's about an hour and a half per side, roughly. I mean, some of that was gathering tools. You know, a lot of that was gathering a bunch of tools while I was looking for the right size hex head socket or drill bit or whatever. But yeah, I'm sure the passenger side will get done in like an hour. You can kind of see the look on it compared to that side. Some of these guys are like impossible to get to with like a socket. I think I'm gonna have to use a regular old hex key. So they want you to remove the inner fender liner first, using a 10 mil, and then just using like a little rivet tool, plastic rivet remover tool, just remove all the plastic rivets. We're gonna start with that, go from there, and then I think I've got to look at their instructions again and mark a bunch of holes to be drilled to 3/8. All right, so there's definitely a bolt hidden up in here, 10 mil, and there's a 10 mil hidden up right here. So don't go just yanking on this thing without checking those. Now we got to drill a bunch of 3/8 holes. I'm going to mark them all. It looks like we have to take the rock slider off to get the tube fender on. Now we're back in action with the factory sliders off. I think we can mock up the fenders now. So they want you to like mock this guy up, and then you're gonna drill some holes up in here, and you're gonna take this back off and put some rib nuts in. At least that's what I think is gonna happen. hoping the LOD rock sliders clear that, or else I'll be having to do some clearancing. All right, so these little guys go in there too. I don't recall seeing them in the instructions, but 4 little 10 mil bolts. This guy is really hard to get to, but whatever. It is what it is. I would highly recommend opening up all the holes bigger than you think, and that'll make your life a lot easier. So there's no real way to get a wrench in here. I might be able to get a flex head in there. So that's something to keep in mind too, is like, not really quite sure what to do there. I'll look for a flex head wrench. I'm gonna see if this guy works. You're gonna want a flex head wrench for that little tiny hard to get to bolt. I guess they seem pretty solid. Got the little light kit right here. It installs up front right there, or right there. Little side marker thing. Just gonna stick that stuff on real quick. So you could see they look like, look at the gap. So look at the gaps right here and right here, and you can see that the light needs to push this way, but it can't. If you're gonna buy these fenders, just be aware that you have to do a lot of modifications that you weren't planning on that aren't in the instructions. This thing, there is no physical way to get this in there. It looks like it's supposed to slide. Basically, there's a piece of steel right here that's it's supposed to go past that it's not. And so I could either trim this down, which seems like a terrible idea. I could try to get a die grinder in here, which seems like a terrible idea, or I could just drill these holes out, which also seems like a terrible idea, but it seems like the easiest part of the deal. Also, I had to open up like every 3/8 hole to at least 1/2 inch, and then also use a die grinder to move some holes around. Not stoked to be drilling these things out as much as I have been tonight. It's like the rears weren't aligning right either. So, I mean, be aware of that. If you're cool with all that, I'm already so far into it, I have to run them. I broke off all the clips on the stock fenders. I don't know if I would do these again. I would have to really think about it to do them again. Just because I feel like I should have sent them back, but I don't want to drive the Jeep with no fenders for like a long period of time. Break the marker light to do it. Oh, there we go. I got it. Oh my. Yeah, if they would have put riv nuts up in here, up in these guys, that would have made it a lot better to put the stock flares back on. It's almost like I have to put riv nuts in there now or something if I want to. Otherwise, I'm trying to see how I can make the stock fenders work. I have to play with it, I guess. It's the little threaded inserts are too, you could see it just like the other side where there's no way that's going to thread in there without drilling out these holes. So you might need to open up these 2 holes like I did on each side. They're interfering with the screws. I think what happened is that this guy is supposed to sit further down in there than it does, I think is what the problem is. That guy's supposed to sit further down in there than it does. That's the problem. And I think this piece right here has to be just kind of pushed a little bit back, or this piece needs to come this way just a hair. I mean, we're talking very small amount, right? But just keep that in mind that you might have to drill these guys out too. Well, thanks for following along this week. These fenders are on. Just remember that the little front light mounts probably have to get drilled out. Some of the holes might not line up right. You might have to drill them out bigger. I did 1/2 inch on everything on the second side and it all lined up much easier. Oh yeah, and you got to take off your factory rock sliders as well. Not a big deal. Or if you have any rock sliders on, they might interfere. So I would recommend doing these before you install new rock sliders because the factory ones are really light and really easy to remove. My next video is going to be installing the LOD rock sliders. I think that's mostly it. If you can, please like, subscribe, comment below, click notifications, and hope to see you guys out on the trail. Get out there, go wheel.
JLUR.